Hello everyone, welcome to A Lima History. I'm Abe. Yes, I know I haven't uploaded any videos in the last, a really long time. And because it's the 4th of July in America, which of course I mean the United States of America, so this is a video explaining the brief history of the United States of America. So our story starts out in around 1600 in Europe. The Protestant Reformation is going on right now, and the supposedly Protestant Church of England is established to the benefit of the crown. Many Protestant Christians are unsatisfied with the new church, claiming it was too Catholic. These Christians were known as Puritans, and a group of Puritans known as Separatists set sail to the New World to escape religious persecution. History will remember these 102 passengers as the Pilgrims. They set sail to a new world across the Atlantic. The English had already established a colony off the shores of Chesapeake Bay. Originally the property of the Virginia Company, Virginia Colony, then Jamestown, grew so profitable that the king himself took direct control. The Pilgrims established New Plymouth Colony around Massachusetts Bay. The new settlement established a democratic system of government based on a constitution they had written earlier, the Mayflower Compact. New Plymouth would grow to be the English, later British colonies of Massachusetts and Connecticut. These crown colonies would inherit this liberal style of government in their own colonial charters. Little by little, new colonies began forming along the coast, like Pennsylvania. This infected the indigenous population, which have lived there for thousands of years. The Native Americans were pushed out west. 2 centuries passed, and Britannia left the colonies mostly self-governing, with the exception of finances in the military. But after the 7 Years' War, the British Parliament needed to pay off war debt, so they decided to tax the now 13 colonies off the Atlantic coast. Colonists responded to the taxes with absolute fury. For the last 200 years, the 13 British colonies had been mostly self-governing, with the occasional interference of the king. But now the English Parliament, whom they had no representation in whatsoever, was now taxing them. To the people of the colonies, this was outrageous. In 1773, a group of angry protesters tossed tea into Boston Harbor in Massachusetts. That was it. The king was furious. The stage was set for war. In April 1775, on the fields of Lexington Green, the first shots were fired. The American War for Independence had begun. And on July 4, 1776, the colonies declared themselves an independent nation, the free and independent United States of America, meaning that the colonies were an official state of rebellion.
As thick as hasty pudding, Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy.
And there they pipe away like fun and play on cornstalk fiddles, and some had ribbons red as blood all bound around their middles. Keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy.
And there was Captain Washington upon a slapping stallion, giving orders to his men.
I guess there was a million.
Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy.
Little keg, its head were made of leather. They knocked upon with little sticks
to call the men together. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy. And there they had a swamping gun as big as a log of maple, on a mighty little cart, a load for father's cattle. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be handy. And every time they fired it off, it took a load of powder.
It made a noise like father's gun,
only a nation louder. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and
out till I got home.
Locked up in mother's chamber. Yankee Doodle, keep it up. Yankee Doodle dandy. Fight the blues and count the step, and with the girls be happy.
At first, the rebels lost battle after battle. American forces were constantly retreating, and the British even took control of the provisional capital, Philadelphia, for a short time. But eventually, the French recognized the independence of the United States and declared war on Britain to rematch the UK after beating them in the 7 Years' War. In late 1781, General Cornwallis surrendered to the French and American forces. In 1783, the British and Americans signed the Treaty of Paris. The United States is officially an independent nation. The newly formed United States was a nation in name only. The US was really more like a loose confederation of 13 states. The only power that the Continental Congress had was in the field of foreign affairs. Every colony became a separate state with its own laws. Its colonial charters became state constitutions. Rumors and threats of rebellion were widespread. A new nation, only 4 years old, was on the verge of collapse. In 1787, a group of delegates from every state joined together in a convention in Philadelphia. Their goal? To draft a new constitution for the Union. Eventually, these men settled on a constitution based off that of the Iroquois Confederation, or Haudenosaunee, the same people that the colonists had kicked out of the region. On April 13, 1789, George Washington was elected the first president of the United States of America. During this time, France was going through a revolution of its own. In the end, a young Corsican French general assumed control of the unstable French government. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. The new French government needed money to continue fighting its wars against the rest of Europe. In 1803, Napoleon sold Louisiana Territory to then U.S. President Thomas Jefferson for $15 million. The size of the United States of America was doubled overnight. The year is 1814. The United States is once again at war with the United Kingdom. Britain was busy fighting Napoleon, and they needed more men to fight. For this reason, the British began capturing American merchant ships on the Atlantic and forcing them to serve in the British Royal Navy. 2 years have passed since the war began. Washington was captured. The White House had been burnt down by the British, and a 35-year-old American lawyer is on board a British Royal Navy ship. His name is Francis Scott Key. Key went on board the ship to ask the British commander on the ship to free American hostages. The commander complied, but Key would have to remain on board the ship while the British attacked Fort McHenry in Baltimore. The British fleet vastly outnumbered the American defenders at Fort McHenry. The next morning, when the battle was over, Key noticed something in the distance. The American flag was still waving. The Americans had won. Key wrote a poem about these events, Defense at Fort McHenry. The popularity of this poem grew, and in a few months, it had a standard tune. Within a year, the song would be known as the Star-Spangled Banner. After the war, the U.S. Capitol was rebuilt. Sadly, as more white men began moving west, the natives were once again pushed out of their homeland. To the south, the Spanish possessions became independent nations. The United States established the Monroe Doctrine, in which they declared war on any European power who would try to invade the American continent once again. In the United States, slavery was becoming more and more controversial. Kidnapping people from Africa and selling them as slaves was practiced since the time of Jamestown Colony, modern-day Virginia. But in 1809, slavery became illegal in all over the North, and the nation became politically divided over the issue. but we'll get back to that later. Meanwhile, Mexico was giving free land to anyone who would immigrate to the Mexican state of Coahuila and Texas. Over time, the English-speaking Protestant Americans outnumbered the Spanish-speaking Catholic Mexicans in Texas. In 1836, the people of Texas declared themselves the independent nation of Texas. The United States immediately recognized the new nation. Mexico, however, did not. The United States declared war on Mexico in 1846. After 2 years of fighting, the United States invaded and occupied the Mexican capital. The American flag was raised over the city square and on top of the Mexican Congress building. The United States decided not to take over the entire nation, but 55% of its territory, including the land Texas claimed. Texas would also join the U.S. as a state. In Alta California, one of the territories that were ceded to the United States, gold was discovered just days before Mexico handed over the territory. By the time the news reached the Mexican government, it was too late. Gold was discovered in Upper California. The Californian gold rush had begun. Thousands of people migrated to the American Upper California. Alta is Spanish for upper. American is used to stop confusion with the Mexican state of Lower or Baja California. These pioneers were mostly men in search of gold. In 1 year, the city of San Francisco, the largest city in the region, grew from a population of 1,000 in 1848 to 35,000 in 1849. That's 1 year. And the numbers grew from 80,000 by 1851. During this time, Upper California territory, which was technically unorganized territory, was lawless. Finally, in Monterrey, American Upper California in 1851, a state constitution was drafted. The state of California was born. It became the 31st state to be admitted to the Union.
From Salem City with a washbowl on my knee, I'm going to California, the gold dust for to see. It seemed all night the day I left, the weather was so dry, the sun so hot I froze to death. Oh brothers, don't you cry. Oh California, that's the land for me. I'm going to Sacramento with a washbowl on my knee.
Meanwhile, tensions were building up between the northern and southern halves of the United States over the practice of slavery. In 1861, Abraham Lincoln of the newly founded Republican Party was elected. The goal of the Republican Party, to stop slavery from moving into western states. They were successful in California, which decided to outlaw slavery, like in the northern states. The southern half of the nation relied on slavery for their cotton-based economy. In that same year, 1861, 11 southern states seceded from the Union and declared themselves the Confederate States of America. The American Civil War had begun.
When Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah, we'll give him a hearty welcome then, hurrah, hurrah. Oh, the men will cheer, the boys will shout, the ladies they will all turn out, and we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. Get ready for the Jubilee, hurrah, hurrah. We'll give the hero 3 times 3, hurrah, hurrah. Oh, the laurel wreath is ready now to place upon his loyal brow, and we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. In 1861, hurrah, hurrah, that was when the war begun, hurrah, hurrah. In 1862, both sides were falling to, and we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. In 1863, hurrah, hurrah, old lady ended slavery, hurrah, hurrah. In 1863, old lady ended slavery, and we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. In 1864, hurrah, hurrah, it called for 500,000 more, hurrah, hurrah. In 1865, they talk rebellious strife, and we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home. And we'll all drink stone wine when Johnny comes marching home.
The war ended in 1863 with an American victory. The rebels were crushed. The nation was saved. But days after the war, President Lincoln was shot. He would go down in American history as one of the greatest presidents this nation has ever seen. The next big step for America, the construction of a railroad system connecting California with the eastern coast. Just like that, two companies, the Union Pacific and the Western Pacific, began working on this railroad. The railroad was completed in 1866. Then, out of nowhere, tens of thousands of people will move to the States. In Europe, tens of thousands of people get on ships in search of new beginnings. These people are from many different backgrounds and are leaving for many different reasons. Some, like the Jews, are escaping religious persecution. Others are escaping poverty, but they all have one thing in common. Their destination is America.
Traveling far without a home, but not without a star. Free, only want to be free. We huddle close, hang on to a dream. On the boats and on the planes, be coming to America, never looking back again. it seems so far away. We're traveling light today in the eye of the storm, in the eye of the storm. Home to a new and a shiny place. Make our bed and we'll say our grace. Freedom's light burning warm. Freedom's light burning warm. Everywhere around the world, they come into America. Every time that flag's unfurled, they come into America. Got a dream to take them there. They come into America. Got a dream they come to share. They come into America. They come into America. They come into America. They come into America. They come into America today. 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 My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, of thee I sing today. 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 Today.
When the First World War started in Europe, the United States did not want to get involved. American banks, however, gave loans to France and Britain, which were the US best friends at the time and still are today. Sorry, Canada. With a lot of pressure, though, and with Germany trying to get Mexico to take back the West, the United States declared war on Germany. The United States participated in the war for 19 months, yet the outcome will change America's stance from a regional power to a player on the world stage. After the war, the United States got to negotiate the terms of the peace along with the UK and France. The United States became a world power. However, in 1929, the New York stock market crashed, causing a local and shortly thereafter worldwide recession. The Great Depression had begun. The Great Depression was a time of economic instability in the United States, Europe, and Japan. And during this time in Germany, a new government took charge under the leadership of one man, Adolf Hitler. Hitler wanted to, along with exterminating the Jews, restore the glory and prestige of Germany that was lost in World War I. In September 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Poland. The Second World War had begun. Japan, Germany's ally during the war, bombed Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The next day, December 11, 1941, the United States declared war on Germany and Japan. Months later, Mexico and Brazil would follow. After 5 years, the Soviet Union occupied Berlin, the German capital. And in August the same year, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The war was over, and two superpowers emerged: the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics and the United States of America. In 1948, the United States and Soviet Union voted for the creation of the State of Israel, which is, very good at being a subject to avoid talking about in public, I guess. In 1949, China became a communist nation, and Vietnam was trying to become socialist too, if they could just win the revolution from France. The United States found itself caught up in numerous proxy wars to combat communism. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. The 90s became a period of new technology such as the internet, which you are using to watch this video. Recently, however, the United States has begun to lose prominence. And to the south, thousands of Mexicans and other Latin Americans flock to the United States in search of the American dream. In 2017, Donald Trump is elected president. What will he do next? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you're new to my channel. Leave a comment below if you'd like to see more videos like this.